What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. So today I wanted to make a sorcery loadout, another one, but this time for healer, and I also wanted to show you the spec. So let's do that. Okay. So first things first, let's get into the spec. So weapons, you'd want dual wield, just because it's a great power regen. Your flurry shots will give great power regen back. You can also use hand blasters, I believe, but since I am precision on my DPS, I just got really used to dual wield, so that's the reason why I run it. In terms of movement, fast movement, and then this stuff over here. Mechanics, you do not need any of this. I just had this, unless you're spamming Aya Gemini, take Pheromone Blue. Other than that, you don't need anything. Stat points. Now, me personally, I spec hybrid. I've seen some people spec super powered, just because they have the extra power and power regeneration. The reason that I spec hybrid though is because you get an extra 5% restoration and an extra 5% dominance, so your overall healing and shield strength does increase. There's also another reason why I'm okay with specking hybrid and power is not an issue. I mean, really, for one, sorcery healer is not that power hungry, especially if you're good with your timing and maximizing all your powers. You won't really have a problem with healing, with power at all, honestly. And I'll touch on that more in a minute. You'll get your crits, you get restoration, and then your extra points can either go into health, might and power, or dominance. Now health, if you want a little extra survivability, you can put that in there. Might and power, if you want a little extra power, you can do that as well. I personally put mine in Dom because Dom will also increase shield strength and heals, of course. So it's not much. I mean, you won't really have a lot of dominance as a healer or as a DPS, because the majority of your stats comes from the gear, and healer and DPS gear does not have dom associated with it, unless it's the OP piece. So you won't really have much, but something's better than nothing, I guess. In terms of artifacts, I'm running Orb of Orion, Page of Destiny, and the Demon's Fang. So you definitely want Page and Orb. In terms of Fang, you don't really need it. You can choose to run Aya Gemini, you can choose to run the transformation card. Don't use the Starheart Fragment, that one's completely trash. But I've been using Demon's Fang since the artifact came out, and I liked running it because it gives a nice restoration stat, as you can see at the top, 5% restoration, and it also gives a nice power stat, 3% power, and on top of that, it has a great power regeneration. So that's why I don't have to spec into power. I don't have to spec super powered. Even when I do run out of power, for one, you have the Demon's Fang artifact, you have the Troll, you have Soda, supply drops, so you really shouldn't be running out of power. I personally, what I try to do sometimes is I don't automatically flurry, or when I do flurry, I'll try to wait until my power goes down a little, so that my Demon Fang will go up. My Demon Fang will regen my power. So that's sometimes I'll just like stand around, I'll hit powers, and then I'll go into my flurries. So I do that because that way I will regen the power that I lost. and then I'll flurry for like another 10 seconds, then I'll stop. That way you just maximize the potential of the artifact. You get the most out of it, is essentially what I'm trying to say. In terms of Orb of Orion, I really only use it when someone is about 60 or 70%. That way I'm not power spamming, because it does take a lot of power. And for 2 I get the most out of it. Otherwise, try to heal with your group heal, honestly. That way you're able to set the Revivify stacks on your allies, and that way your Page of Destiny will activate if their health drops 40 and under. So try to use your group heals, and you'll also have Spectral Ally healing, and you can keep them shielded. So that's in terms of artifacts. Now in terms of loadout, this is the loadout that I use to heal everything, from alerts to raids. Even when SM was out, this is what I used. It's very efficient. You can use it for anything, and I'm also able to solo heal with this loadout, so it's the best loadout, honestly. Boon of Souls, Rejuvenate, Circle of Protection, Invocation of Renewal, Ritualistic Word, and Transcendence. Now I'll get into the supercharge later, but this, and this you definitely want to run. This will serve as your 4-man shield, your prio heal, your group heal, and this is a great healer power over here. It's an 8-man heal, so you want to use this. Say if V's are on cooldown, or if everyone in the group's health is really low, say like 40%. This, just by activating this power, it'll take them all up to full health. It's a really strong heal over time, and that's why I like it. Circle of Protection, I like running this just to set it on the tank or the group, but if you're setting, I'll show you in a minute. Let me go to the sparring target. But there are things that you could do with Circle of Protection in terms of the way you set it down. So normally I do set mine on the tank, but there's also times where I'll set it on the group. So the way that this works is different from Water's Pool. So Circle will apply under your target, so you have to be targeting something, and it'll spawn under that target. It won't spawn under you, but if you want it to spawn under you, you would essentially just aim your camera down, then you spawn it. That way you're not targeting anything, and it can spawn under you and the rest of the group. Now, in terms of Circle, you can also, I mean, I've seen people, they run Soul Siphon. I've seen them run where's the other one, Soul Bolt, just because it is their, I mean, Soul Bolt is it's a spam power. Soul Siphon is relatively short cooldown as well, so I mean you could heal with those as well. I've seen some people run Soul Well as well. I've personally just been running Circle for a long time. In terms of Watcher, don't run that. It's complete garbage. Complete garbage. It's been horrible ever since the stats revamp in 2017. So you don't want to run that. In terms of Supercharge, you either run Bloom, Arbiter, or Transcendence. Bloom is if you're spamming Supercharge with IA Gemini. Otherwise, Arbiter or Transcendence is what you want to do. I personally run Transcendence because Arbiter is it's a great supercharge, but I feel as if it makes healing content too easy. Because for one, you have unlimited power with it, and for two, like you don't have cooldowns either, so the cooldowns are less. The power cost is much less. You can just keep spamming with it. I just find it too easy. So if you do struggle with power, I guess you could run it. I'm pretty power efficient though. I time my things accordingly, so I'm not spamming. I always have power. that's why I just ran Transcendence, honestly. 8-man shield, even though it sucks that they made it 10k when it used to be 5, but it is also a really strong heal over time, and it'll also shield all 8 people in the group. So that's essentially what you run it. Now if you do run Arbiter Destiny, the very few times that I do use Arbiter, I use essentially the same loadout, except no supercharge. Instead of this though, I mean, you could use Soul Bolt or Soul Siphon instead of the return to a normal one. What else am I missing? Got into the spec. Oh right, affinity mods. Now I personally I main heal, so my affinity mods they're all for healer. So type A restoration, B restoration, C healing conservation, and D field medic. Now in terms of base generator mods, you'd want your blues to be power, your yellows to be restoration, and then your reds to be might or precision, depending on what you do for DPS. In terms of white mods, so for my weapon socket, I use replenishing adapter, which restores power. For my head socket, I use energized circle, destruction, circle protection. Again, I have it returns power. Neck socket, focus restoration V. Back socket, accelerated wound of souls. That way, your cooldown for your shield is less. You keep your allies shielded more. It just helps overall with protecting and keeping them alive. Chest, power efficiency, use 5% less power. Legs really don't matter. You don't even need to put anything there. Leg socket have been unnecessary for a while. I just put them in there because feet, tumbling master, and your hands will be empowered channeling. And the reason why I put that in there is stuff like invocation of renewal. It's vulnerable to interrupt. So if you're running the hand mod, that will not be vulnerable to interrupt anymore. So that's essentially that. For trinket, I use Death Blossom Seeds just because it'll help heal a little bit, so that could be a little useful. Augments, of course, it'll be all restoration, and then in terms of power right now, I have 81 330, restoration 44 856, and I don't have league buffs at the moment. We actually just got our league haul today, and we also have a league haul a league channel for YouTube. If you want to check that out, I'll link it in the description below. But if you do have the league buffs, of course it'll go more. If you have better artifacts, it'll go more as well. Sodas, I use the Battle City for healer, but you could use the Nutri, I believe it's called Nutri Soda Cola. That's for the restoration buff. And yeah, I guess that's that. I'll have videos later on whenever I get the time. I'll show myself healing with the loadout just so you can see how it works. Other than that, I think I covered everything. So I hope you guys found this video useful. If you have any other suggestions for things that I could do, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to do those as soon as I get the chance to. Other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you around.